a few weeks ago, I read an article on Skift that illustrates an important trend in the industry. The article was talking about the fact that TripAdvisor is forecasting that for 2020, for the first time ever, they're going to be bringing in more revenue from their experiences and their restaurant bookings than the hotel bookings, or the accommodation bookings, I should say. And that to me is a big indicator of what's going on in the industry. I think it's probably not a surprise. I mean, experiences in travel have always been key. They've always been important. But what's really key to look at now is the industries that previously, I'm going to say, we're a little bit lazier on experiences. And a lot of those, unfortunately, are some of the larger accommodations, hotels especially. They're competing with things like Airbnb, where now all of a sudden there's alternative accommodation options. And just having a room is not enough. And having a good customer service experience, in my opinion, is not enough. You need to look at a unique customer experience in order to really stand out and thrive moving forward for this decade, not just this year. And the fact that TripAdvisor can see that being reflected in the revenue trend and what the customers are interested in, and they see this as being a year where the revenues are being surpassed on the experience side, I think is a really big indicator of where the industry is going. It's also a large indicator to me of the upcoming markets. I believe that, here's an interesting thing. I was having a conversation with a safari operator in Africa the other day, and he said what he saw as a trend, and I see as a bigger conversation with some of the other organizations that we've been working with, is, our bread and butter has been kind of that baby boomer generation. But that baby boomer generation, they value experiences like a calm setting and a glass of wine and looking over the ocean or a savanna. However, the generation that we see coming up now that has the money that wasn't necessarily there before, they've come into a spot where they've got a savings to spend on high-level experiences, is the generation after that baby boomer generation. And that generation after, that generation was the generation that piloted extreme sports. They're the ones that started getting into snowboarding, dirt biking, surfing, and they're the ones that really valued those more active experiences. And so the experience industry is changing, and it's a really interesting thing to see, and see the operators talking about that. Is we're seeing this generation that they just have a different level of expectation. Having a glass of wine when you arrive, or having the champagne bottle service when you arrive, that's not what this generation's that's coming up. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for unique experiences that have a little bit more surprise in them. And so I think that obviously this article on Skift, with where TripAdvisor is going, I think we're starting to see the beginnings of that. It will only be expanding from here as far as having surprising, unique experiences. There's just a level of expectation that it's going to be there. And then what's really interesting is the generations under that, the millennials and even some of the younger generations that maybe don't have the revenue for travel yet, but their expectation absolutely will be just a higher level of customization. And that's always been a trend in the luxury market, is customization, but now it's becoming the expectation for the market as a whole. Focusing on experiences for not only 2020, but for the rest of the decade, focusing on experiences that have surprise built into them, I think it's going to be the trend for the next few years here. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, then there's a ton more resources for you over at tourismmanagementacademy.com. Head over there, find the resources that you need in order to take your destination to the next level. The other thing that would be awesome is let me know how you are receiving these videos. Just go into the comments below. Tell me what your questions are, what your challenges are. I absolutely read those, and that's what is the basis for our next video. So go ahead, go down there, let me know what you're thinking. And if you're liking these videos, then for sure, smash that subscribe button.